Vanished without a trace, the Eilean Mòr Lighthouse Mystery and the Lost Keepers. Imagine the perfect, isolated scene for a horror story. 3 men alone on a remote rock, surrounded by the crushing power of the North Atlantic. They are experienced, hardy, and essential. Then, in the dark of a December night, their light goes out. When help arrives, the men are gone, leaving behind a scene of impossible calm and utter dread. This is not fiction. This is the enduring mystery of Eilean Mòr. If you're ready to sail into the heart of an unsolvable nautical enigma, hit that like button right now, and subscribe to Adventure Hidden for more journeys into the world's greatest disappearances. Intro. The year is 1900. The place is the Flannan Isles, a desolate, windswept archipelago off the west coast of Scotland. Here, the Eilean Mòr Lighthouse stood as a lone sentinel against the brutal Atlantic. On December 15th, a passing steamer, the Arch-Tor, reported the unthinkable. The light was dark. A relief effort was dispatched, but it took 2 weeks for the vessel Hesperus to reach the rock. When the principal keeper, Joseph Mòr, finally landed and entered the lighthouse, he found a scene of profound and impossible contradiction. The clocks were stopped, a chair was overturned, and meals were prepared but never finished. Yet, there were no bodies, no signs of a struggle, and the doors were locked from the inside. 3 experienced keepers, Thomas Marshall, James Duckett, and Donald MacArthur, had vanished completely. Did a massive rogue wave wash them away in an instant? Did they succumb to madness, fighting each other? Or did something truly inexplicable occur in the stone tower? The mystery of Eilean Mòr remains one of the sea's darkest secrets. The details of the discovery are critical to solving this puzzle. If you're already chilled by this incredible true story, make sure to subscribe to Adventure Hidden. We're about to examine the eerie scene left behind. Chapter 1. The Isolated Sentinel, Life and Duty at Eilean Mòr. To understand the disappearance, we must first understand the isolation. The Eilean Mòr Lighthouse stands on a small, rugged island, Eilean Mòr, part of the Flannan Isles. In 1900, this was one of the most remote postings in the British Isles. The keeper's life. The lighthouse was brand new, having been finished in 1899. It required a team of 4 keepers who rotated in shifts, with 3 men on the island at any one time. The keepers were experienced professionals whose job was essential: to ensure the light never failed, guiding ships through the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic. The missing crew consisted of James Duckett, principal keeper, a seasoned keeper known for his meticulous logging; Thomas Marshall, second keeper, a reliable, reserved man; Donald MacArthur, occasional keeper, a temporary replacement, known for being hot-tempered. The isolation was extreme. There were no telephones, no radio, and no nearby ships. The only contact with the outside world was the occasional sight of a steamer and the scheduled visits of the relief vessel, the Hesperus. The men were entirely dependent on their training, their supplies, and each other. Their duty was sacred, and leaving the post unattended was the ultimate dereliction of duty. This fact makes the scene found by the relief crew all the more chilling. Chapter 2. The Eerie Scene, the Impossible Contradictions. The relief ship, the Hesperus, arrived on December 26, 1900. The light was dark. The foghorn was silent. When principal keeper Joseph Mòr landed and climbed to the tower entrance, the clues he found immediately contradicted each other, creating the enduring mystery. The key findings inside the tower. Stopped clocks. All clocks in the tower had stopped. Half-eaten meal. In the galley, a meal of salt beef and potatoes was untouched on the table. The plate and chair of 1 man were knocked over. Unmade beds. The beds of 2 of the keepers were unmade, suggesting they had slept there recently. The 3rd bed was neatly made. Locked doors. The main door to the lighthouse and the gate leading to the external landing platform were both securely closed, contradicting the idea of a simple evacuation. The key findings outside the tower. Missing oilskins. The greatest anomaly was the missing gear. Only 2 sets of oilskins, waterproof coats, were gone. Why would 3 men leave the shelter of the tower in extreme weather with 1 set of gear left behind? Storm damage. The west landing stage showed signs of massive damage. Iron railings were twisted, and a block of stone weighing over a ton had been dislodged. Yet this damage was old. The box. At the top of the supply crane, a heavy box containing rope was found scattered, as if its contents had been desperately needed. The scene suggested a sudden, desperate emergency. But the overturned chair and the missing oilskins hinted at a bizarre chain of events that defied common sense. Chapter 3. The Logbook's Final Secrets. The keeper's logbook, retrieved from the tower, contains the most chilling and cryptic clues to what may have happened in their final hours. The early entries, December 12th. The entries began innocuously, detailing weather and maintenance. But on December 12th, the entries took a sharp, dramatic turn. Marshall's entry. He wrote of a severe storm unlike any they had seen raging for 8 days. MacArthur's entry. He noted he was crying, a strange emotional reaction for a seasoned, tough keeper in the face of a storm. Duckett's entry. The meticulous Duckett wrote that he was silent, and that the entire crew was praying. This log suggests the men were experiencing extreme psychological distress from a massive storm. The final entry, December 15th. The very last entry, dated December 15th, contained the final, most baffling message: storm ended, sea calm. God is over all. This entry is impossible. The Archtor steamer had reported the light was out that same night, and there was no severe storm reported anywhere else in the region at that time. The contradiction. Why would the men log a powerful storm when regional logs showed mild weather? Why would they record the sea as calm when it was the only plausible explanation for their disappearance? Did they see something else? Did the stress lead to a shared delusion? The logbook doesn't provide clarity, it adds layers of chilling mystery. The official investigation had to choose between believing the impossible logs and the undeniable fact of the missing men. If you're hooked on this classic maritime ghost story, hit that like button and subscribe to Adventure Hidden. Let us know in the comments. Do you believe the keepers were taken by the sea or by something inside the lighthouse? Chapter 4. The Official Inquiry, the Verdict of the Sea. When news of the vanishing reached the mainland, the Lighthouse Authority immediately launched an official inquiry led by Robert Muirhead, a respected superintendent who had personally hired and knew all 3 men. Muirhead's findings. Muirhead visited the rock in person and carefully reviewed the physical evidence. His primary concern was the missing oilskins. 3 men were on duty, but only 2 sets of heavy gear were missing. The deduced sequence. Muirhead proposed that one man, likely MacArthur, the stand-in, stayed in the tower to keep the lamp lit while the other 2, Duckett and Marshall, went outside to secure something, perhaps the missing rope box, during the height of the storm. The disaster. A sudden, immense rogue wave, a singular wave higher than the known structure of the tower, struck the landing stage, sweeping the 2 men away instantly. The third man, MacArthur, realizing his 2 colleagues were gone, rushed outside without putting on his oilskins, hence only 2 were missing, to either check the damage or call for help, and he too was washed away by a second equally devastating wave. The official conclusion. Muirhead concluded the disappearance was a tragedy caused by a series of events tied to an extraordinary and unprecedented sea event, a massive wave. This verdict exonerated the lighthouse service from any blame related to structural failure or negligence. The problem? It relied on assumptions about the men's state of mind. Why would 2 senior keepers violate protocol and go out together? And relied on a wave massive enough to overcome the entire island, a wave that was never officially recorded. Chapter 5. The Enduring Theories, From Rogue Waves to Hauntings. The official explanation satisfies the insurance forms, but it fails to satisfy the human curiosity. The contradictory evidence has fueled countless theories over the past century. Theory 1. The rogue wave, the plausible but scary. This remains the most likely natural cause. A 3 Sisters or rogue wave, a massive wave far larger than the surrounding sea state, could have easily engulfed the western platform, sweeping away the men, perhaps even dragging the third man out after him as he tried to secure the damaged landing. This explains the dislodged stone and the missing men without violence. Theory 2. Murder and madness, the internal conflict. Donald MacArthur was known to be hot-tempered. Could a fight have broken out, perhaps fueled by the extreme stress logged in the book? Did MacArthur murder Duckett and Marshall, and then, realizing the gravity of his actions, throw himself into the sea? This explains the overturned chair and the third man's absence. However, there was no blood or evidence of a struggle. Theory 3. Foreign abduction, the conspiracy. The keepers were supposedly guarding a secret cache of gold or military plans, and they were abducted by a foreign power, often linked to German agents in the run-up to World War I. This explains the quick, clean disappearance. However, there is no historical record of Eilean Mòr serving any military purpose. Theory 4. Supernatural/haunting, the legend. Eilean Mòr has historical connections to a chapel dedicated to Saint Flannan and ancient legends of spirits. Locals were convinced that the keepers were taken by phantoms of the mists, or a legendary sea monster. While dismissed by officials, this theory highlights the deep sense of unease and isolation associated with the Flannan Isles. Chapter 6. The Final Verdict, Why the Mystery Endures. The lasting power of the Eilean Mòr mystery lies in its complete lack of closure. The three keepers vanished between December 15 and 26, 1900, and their fate remains one of maritime history's greatest blank pages. The key question, the crux of the puzzle, lies in the logbook. The men claimed a severe storm was raging when, according to all external data, the weather was relatively mild. Were they logging a literal storm, or were they recording the effects of a terrifying, localized and unique phenomenon, like a colossal tidal surge or a geological event? Ultimately, the official explanation, the rogue wave, is the simplest explanation that covers almost all physical evidence: the damage, the missing men. However, the contradictory logbook entries ensure the mystery will always be tinged with the possibility of human drama, madness, or something the 20th century could not yet understand. The sea took the men, and the mystery remains locked in the stone tower. Outro. The story of Thomas Marshall, James Duckett, and Donald MacArthur is a haunting reminder of the immense power of the sea and the fragility of life on its edge. The Eilean Mòr lighthouse still shines, but it is now automated, ensuring no human being ever has to endure the silent isolation that claimed its original crew. The sea keeps its secrets well. If the disappearance of the Eilean Mòr keepers chilled you to the bone, please like this video and share it with your fellow mystery hunters. And for more thrilling journeys into the world's most incredible unsolved enigmas, make sure you are subscribed to Adventure Hidden. Until our next expedition, stay safe and keep searching for the truth.